Being in Tangles time was a pretty unexpected experience. I mean, I had a lot of ideas as to what it would be like, but I'd also never been involved in theater or really performance in any way.
As a neurology resident, I'm fascinated with the brain. It's this amazing organ that floats in the skull like it's bathing in a big bathtub. It's the very definition of who we are. The beauty of the brain lies not so much in the web of material that it consists of, but rather its patterns of connection and fluidity. The brain's language is one of firing patterns. We know not what the steady patterns are, or what the rhythms even mean, but in them lies what we call consciousness. The sheer number of these connections makes us who we are. The beauty of the brain lies in those connections.
The process of going through and preparing for Tangles in time has really left an impact on me for how I think about approaching my interactions with patients. It's really about getting to know people. It's really about sort of that process of understanding. And I don't think you're sort of peeling away the layers just to get to the core. Like, the layers themselves have a lot more meaning than whenever I'm really just trying to arrive upon a diagnosis.
I love studying the brain. All that we know, all that we don't know. Today, we will share stories of brains that work well and brains that are out of sync. Stories of loss and love, forgetting and remembering, of family and caretaking, medicine and healing, and what and who we are, with or without our memories, language, or orientation in time and space.
One really important thing about the topic that this play and performance was about, that's very similar to much of what Theater of Witness hopes to accomplish, is that these are really untold stories for many people. Most people in the audience had experienced some sort of loss and had been a caregiver or had a family member that had gone through this, but I think the shared experience that you saw on stage, and also understanding that very different experiences could still have a degree of commonality that I think we as participants related to, but I think also the audience could pretty universally relate to as well.
Some of us are doctors. Some of us are students of medicine or nursing. Some of us are care partners. And some others are living with the dementia diagnosis. But all of us are tangled in the web of time, trying to make the most of our time here on Earth.
In the healthcare setting, there are aspects of humanity and sort of human experiences that are just, they try and incorporate into curriculum and training, but I think that it's really important just to have these truly embodied experiences and these sort of repetitive experiences of building relationships. There's a lot of humanism that needs to be a part of medicine, and it's easy to lose parts of that.
I'm going to ask you some questions that may seem simple. Can you tell me the date? The year? How about, is it winter, spring, summer, or fall? Tell me, who is the president? What's in the news? How old are you? Tell me, what floor are we on? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? As a neurologist, I ask people questions about their orientation all the time. When they answer incorrectly, it's not that they're not in this present moment. They may just not know when that moment is. Brains of people with dementia have tangles called tau clogging their thoughts, and plaques called amyloid blocking their memories.
Cognitive disorders are, I think, some of the most heartbreaking because sometimes they attack the parts of a person that they sort of cherish most. For some people, their entire personality can change, and it's hard to draw a difference between a personality and an identity.
I find the most beautiful thing about the brain is these loops upon loops of activity that synchronize together to make up our consciousness. When things are working well, all of these loops line up together and talk at the right time. But when a loop has become severed, we never know what may rise up. For some, language and memory are there, but patience isn't. For others, they can feel lost in familiar places or feel a sudden impulse to run. And for some others, their behaviors and personalities change in such a way that they're no longer recognizable to those who love them most. What is our essential nature when the disease changes everything and we no longer recognize our loved ones? Who are we when these things shift and change and we may not even know our own name? If what we've most loved and cherished about a person is their identity, and that is lost, what is left?
Language memory disorders are very different than many other illnesses because they, in some ways, sort of chip away at a piece of our identity without completely changing all of us. And just knowing those pieces of us that are left when parts of those have been chipped away, I think is in some ways very tragic, but I think also, as I've learned through this play, there's so much that's sort of beauty that remains.
While our brains define our identity, it's our hearts that keep us human. Just like our brains function best with a web of interconnected neurons, we function best in a web of interpersonal connections. Maybe we evolved these big, beautiful brains just so we could love deeper. Maybe, in the end, it's all about love.